This isn't really the fun, like, sexy building everything together. It's just kind of the, like, figuring stuff out. Welcome back to the channel, the place where we're making your Bronco, your dream Bronco. Hey, if this is your first time here, I would love to have you subscribe and watch along with me as I am fully restoring this 1974 Ford Bronco. I bought this Bronco for $2,000 and my goal is to fully restore it, keeping track of every dollar and every hour spent to, in the end, sell it and turn a profit. So far, what I've done on this Bronco is I've completely stripped it down, powder coated the axles and the frame, built the suspension under it. So as you can see, I'm in my buddy Donnie's shop. That's where I raptor lined the bottom of the Bronco and dropped the body on. So the video that we're doing today is day 30 because it's literally, I've worked on this Bronco for 30 days. But it's been over the course of 2 years or 3 years. So it's like, even though it's only been 30 days that I've actually done work on the Bronco, it's been about 3 years that it's been sitting in my garage, and my wife was like, it's time. Technically, what you should be doing if you're doing a restoration at this part of the restoration is you should be focused on your engine and transmission. I've just gotten completely overwhelmed by what to do that I've stalled out. I have 3 engines currently right now that are possibilities. I've talked about this too much, so we're gonna skip on the engine stuff. I'm gonna show you what I'm working on today. So kind of my thoughts was to begin working on the dash. So you can see I'm accumulating quite the collection of parts. You know, just as time goes, purchasing stuff, getting stuff kind of squared away. But what I started doing was I was like, all right, it's time to work on the wiring harness. So I got a painless wiring harness from Tom's Off-Road. I got my dash from Tom's Off-Road. So I've got all that. And then I also picked up a vintage Air AC kit from Tom's Off-Road as well. And what I was kind of thinking that I needed to start doing and thinking about was, where am I going to put the AC vents? Where am I going to change any of this for AC, or am I going to leave it pretty stock? You know, right now I think I'll probably leave it pretty stock, but I might put maybe an AC or 2 hole there, and then maybe turn this into, or not whole, like little louvers and stuff like that. So that's what I'm gonna start working on in this video. One of the things that I'm looking at, so this is actually the vintage Air dash knobs. I don't like the knobs, so I had bought some extra ones, extra stock ones from Tom's, and they don't actually fit over these. So I got to kind of figure that out, and I'm looking at this and wondering if I might change all the knobs and maybe go with a billet kind of look. But even this, like, you know, I don't really need an ashtray and I don't need the speaker spot. I could move the glove box down and put in an air vent here. So yeah, it's just all this kind of stuff where you're laying it out, you're looking at it, you're trying to figure out what's gonna work and what you want it to look like. This isn't really the fun, like, sexy building everything together. It's just kind of the, like, figuring stuff out process of a build. I'm also building the Vintage Air kit so that I can mock it up in the Bronco. I'll post a separate video on that whole installation, but I want to make sure that if I do move the glove box, I'm still going to have enough room to fit the Vintage Air box and the glove box behind the dash. I'm also going to be running the Classic Instruments gauge cluster. This thing is awesome. It looks stock, but it's a really nice upgrade and adds some really cool technology to the Bronco. So just mocking this up, the Vintage Air kit comes with a couple air louvers, but they have it so that it kind of hangs down below the dash. I really want this, I want it to be in the dash and to just kind of flow seamlessly. So this is kind of my mock-up right now. I got to do some testing, but putting one here for the passenger on the outside, scooting the glove box door down, putting a dual one here with 2 louvers, and then the one here for the driver. So it'll require some cutting. All right, so I'm really happy with how this is turning out. I think it's gonna look really good. Air vent there. The bezel that goes around the steering column won't fit or won't allow this screw to go in, that particular bezel. So I'm actually thinking maybe I'll fill in those holes and put the bezel behind there. I don't know. Again, right now it's like, oh, I can do anything. But once I start cutting this thing up, I don't know if I'll feel the same. Leave this probably the same, might fill in that hole. Another dual air vent there. And then moving the glove box down. I had it coming to about here and it just kind of felt a little off, like it felt too far this way. So I moved it back a little bit. Then air vent there. So I got the Bronco over at my buddy Ian's shop. There he is.
That's me.
And Kevin is here as well.
The whole team's here.
We're all here. We're working on the Bronco, but Ian's gonna finish up the dash for me because he's actually gonna TIG weld it instead of MIG welding it. Now, before I wrap this video up, I did want to show you guys what I found. So these are the Disruptive Restomods, their whole dash knob kit. And it comes with bezels for everything. But what I really like about these is they're actually billet aluminum, and they work with the vintage air kit, and it looks really good with the billet air louvers that I'm going with. I feel like that's going to be a really nice kind of cohesive look on the dash, and I really like how all these look. I got these from Northeast Classic Ford Parts, I believe is what they're called. Super cool kit. And I'm going to be putting these on the dash once I get that all painted and ready. Now, one of the things that I'm doing with all of this information is I'm kind of putting together a restoration guide, like maybe a PDF with all the parts that I had to purchase for this restoration on there, really just to help someone who is going through this restoration. So if that's something that you feel like you'd be interested in, go ahead and sign up for my email list. It's not ready yet, but I will let you know when it will be ready and when you can grab it. All right, now for my favorite part of this process, the breakdown. Now, at the beginning of this video, I had spent $32,970. This time, I spent $900 for the painless wiring harness, $2,300 for the Vintage Air AC kit with the power steering bracket, $1,100 for the Classic Instruments gauge cluster, $450 for the dash, $315 for the Disruptive Restomod knobs, and $800 for my Billet AC vents from Restomod Air, bringing my grand total up to $38,835 up to this point. So far, I've spent 103 hours across 34 days working on this restoration. This time, mocking up my dash, I spent 29 hours across 7 days for a grand total of 132 hours in 41 days. Now, if you noticed at the end of that last video, I was at Ian's shop and my Bronco was actually in the background, completely in pieces. And that's because I have been already working on the next video. So definitely be on the lookout for that. We drop the engine in and hopefully fire it up. As to this point, it's not fired up. I haven't fired it up yet, but hopefully hopefully it does fire at some point, and we get to see that happen. So be on the lookout for that video, and we'll see you next time.